Chapter 61, Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, defense promotion is not new. After all, it is defensive martial arts. What makes Ling Xiao excited is the improvement of strength. For the warrior, the help of power is too great. At the same level, when the levels of qi are similar, power can play a decisive role. If you can practice 9 turns to gold body tips to the 6th turn, Ling Xiao believes that his strength will make a great progress. However, considering that others will not stop, he will naturally not be complacent. The stronger the improvement, the more satisfied he will be. At the 7th turn, you can train your gold body. When you play the 9 turns gold body technique, your body is yellow in cash, with a thin film-like thing attached to the skin surface, and you can even rebound the enemy's attack. The 8th turn is even more powerful. The warriors of the same level can hardly cause any damage, and at the same time can reduce half the damage of the warriors 1 level higher and 30% of the damage of the warriors 2 levels higher. The 9th turn, known as the 9-turn golden body, as long as there is gold, as long as it is not fatally injured, even if it is a broken limb, it can be reborn. Seeing the 9th turn, Ling Xiao was shaking with a heart. This is too amazing. Although it is necessary to consume more precious gold than silver, it can actually be reborn. This kind of state, as long as it does not die, has a chance to live. What kind of state is this terrifying? Really not a loss is the top martial arts. He has reason to believe that as long as he has practiced 9 turns to gold body skills to the 9th turn, as long as he is not cut off by his neck or killed by a move, he will be almost invincible. Where did they find such a good defensive martial art? That the voices and smiles of loved ones appeared in Ling Xiao's mind, and he could not help feeling sad. I am still too weak. If it is strong enough, who dares to understand my loved ones? It must continue to grow stronger, so strong that no one dares to provoke. Thinking of this, the leader took a piece of gold from Li Xingyan's storage ring and pinched it in his hand. When practicing, gold turned into gold powder, and then slowly penetrated into his arm, and then spread to the whole body. Although it didn't feel very comfortable at first, but just get used to it, it was relatively easy to practice in the first turn. He only spent 1 hour, and he used up a full dozen of gold in his hands. After the turn of the 9-turn gold body technique, Ling Xiao observed his body. The skin was significantly stronger than before, and it was like a cast steel. He was a little excited, so he continued to practice. The 2nd turn turned out to be much more difficult to practice than the first turn. It took 3 hours, and it took $100 or $2 of gold to finally make it. This time it strengthens the bones and muscles, and there is also a clear feeling, but this tenfold consumption really made Ling Xiao a bit miserable. All the fragmentary gold in Li Xingyan's storage ring was used up, which was a breakthrough. There is only 1 gold inner armor left. This gold inner armor is in good condition, almost 1,000 or 2 gold, plus some fragmentary gold objects in this house. It is estimated that it will not be a problem to break through to the 3rd turn. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao left the practice room and then ransacked the house. The gold products in this house were left here by Mr. Ling, and the total amount is about 100 or 2, but it should be enough to add up to that gold inner armor. After returning to the practice room, Ling Xiao began to continue to practice. This time it took longer to practice, and it took 6 hours to break through to the 3rd turn. At this time, Ling Xiao was full of qi and blood, and felt full of energy. Even if he didn't sleep for more than 10 days, there was no problem. Unexpectedly, this defensive martial art actually has such benefits, but he wanted to continue practicing again, but he was in trouble because he had no gold. No wonder no one practiced this kind of defensive martial arts. This is simply the defensive martial arts of local tyrants. Eat gold too. Ling Xiao hesitated for a long time, and simply went to Tianfeng City to exchange all the silver in his body and the herbs and monster cubs harvested from the mountain and river maps for gold. Counting it down, it happened to be more than 20,000 gold. Come on, this time it's become a poor egg again. Ling Xiao laughed bitterly. There were still many silver 2s on his body, and now there are more than 2,002 golds left, and these must be used to practice 9 turns to gold body skills. His idea was that in the finals, at least the 9-turn golden body tactics should be practiced to the 5th turn, which is Xiaocheng. This means that he will need more than 10,200 gold, but I don't want that much for the time being. More than 20,000 gold is enough to train this defensive martial art from the 3rd turn to the 4th turn, in order to improve the Gang Qi at the same time and make the practice of 9 turns to the golden body faster. Ling Xiao simply ate one of his most powerful Qi. In the exercise room, there are tens of thousands of gold piled up. If anyone sees Ling Xiao doing such exercises, he will be stunned. In the previous practice, gold powder slowly entered the body from both hands. This time it was different. All the gold around the body turned into gold powder, penetrated into the body from the pores of Ling Xiao's body, condensed with the qi, and then continued to strengthen the body. Okay. Unexpectedly, during this training, some strange changes finally took place in the mountain and river Wuhuan, and an energy from the mountain and river Wuhuan penetrated into this golden powder and gang. Starting from the 4th turn, Ling Xiao is clearly different from others' 9 turns to gold body skills. His defensive martial arts will not only be more powerful, but also strengthened along with Wuhuan. The most bizarre thing is that, after the energy of Shan Wuwu's soul came in, not only did not slow down the progress of cultivation, but made this progress faster. The power of Gang Qidan and Jinfen was completely absorbed by his body. He could clearly feel that there was once a strange mountain Wuwu soul, which seemed to be connected with his blood. Other Ling Xiao did not know, but he can be sure that his cultivation speed and efficiency of absorbing medicine power are much stronger than the average person. This is what makes Wuha's soul of mountains and rivers special. The average person uses the panacea, and it is already very good to absorb 50% of the drugs www.wuxiaspot.com, and he can almost completely absorb it without wasting it at all. At this point alone, he obviously took the big advantage. It is equivalent to say that the effect of the same panacea used on him is basically twice that of others, but the effect is good, but the consumption is also terrible. Seeing that the mountain of gold in the training room is rapidly decreasing, he is also suffering from pain. Isn't it painful? These are all his family property. Fortunately, there is no waste of gold. With the absorption of gold powder, Ling Xiao can obviously feel that the qi in his body is increasing rapidly. Of course, the fastest increase is the strength, and the strength of the body, especially the soft internal organs, are in constant strengthening. Some of the hidden injuries caused by the previous beating by Ling Chom were actually recovered this time. I have to say that these golds are really not wasted. Chapter 62, Heavy Hunting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No, you must upgrade the 9 turns to gold body tips to the 5th turn before the finals. In that case, the body's defense will make great progress and you can really be invulnerable. After 4 rounds of defensive martial arts, Ling Xiao was not satisfied, but he now encountered a relatively big trouble. From the 4th turn to the 5th turn, a minimum of 102,000 gold is required, and his current gold is only about 12,000, even if it is all used up. It can only make 9 turns to gold body tips a little bit higher on the basis of the 4th turn. It is impossible to break through to the 5th turn. But it is better than nothing. Ling Xiao intends to use up the remaining 12,000 gold first. After that, find a way to hunt the monsters to exchange gold. The stronger the strength, the better the chance of success in hunting monsters. During this practice, he also used the only 2 Gangqi Dawn in Li Xingyan storage ring. After a night, Ling Xiao breathed out a turbid breath, and a golden yellow gang gas began to appear around his body. This gang qi is obviously much stronger than the gang qi of ordinary martial arts quartet. After the 2 Gangqi Dawn were completely absorbed, 10,000 or 2 golds were completely used up. Although it's still a long way from the 5th turn from 9 turns to gold body tips, Gang's qi has improved a lot, and it's close to the peak of Wumai's fourfold. In the absence of top-level inner power mentality, in a short period of time, the cultivation will be promoted from the early stage of Wumai quadruple to close to the peak level of Wumai quadruple. This has to be said that in addition to the contribution of Gang Qidan, the biggest hero or 9 turns to gold body tips. At this time, there are 4 days to go before the annual Dabi finals. Not enough, far from enough. The 4 peaks of Wumai peak strength should be able to defeat the ordinary Wumai Wuzhong Wuling, but Ling Yun is not ordinary, he has soared intentions, and is a genius. Certainly have top martial arts, that he now meets Ling Yun, using martial arts will, the outcome is about 55, but does Ling Yun have any other cards? Has it continued to improve during this time? These are question marks, so this win rate is still too low. What's more, there is Ling Fan, who absolutely does not signal that Ling Fan, the first genius of the Ling family, will lose to Ling Yun in terms of strength. Well, Ling Fifan is more terrible than Ling Yun. Ling Xiao's goal is to secure 3 fights, but if he can get the first, he will definitely not take the second. The first attention and preferential treatment is unimaginable and definitely better than it is now. We must continue to increase our strength. Whether it is to break through cultivation and improve the realm of 9 turns to gold body skills, now we need money and medicine. It's time to go to the Fulong Mountains. Beheading a level 4 monster, even a level 4 peak monster, should be relatively simple now, and combat experience can also be tempered in the process of hunting monsters. It was a battle of life and death, not self-entertainment in the practice room. The combat experience exercised is very necessary for the improvement of combat effectiveness. Thinking of this, he left the training room, told his grandfather Hong Qi and Xiao Tudo, and then prepared some dry food, put it directly into the mountain and river map. As for Li Xinyan's storage ring, he hid it at home. That thing is too dazzling. He doesn't need it for the time being. It's better not to take it. When leaving the Ling family and heading to the Fulong Mountains, Ling Xiao did not notice that a pair of vicious eyes darkly stared at him. Ling Xiao just left the Ling family, and the owner of those eyes also left the Ling family at the same time. About a mile or so away from the Ling family, this person merged with 3 others. This is a deposit, a total of 10,000 or 2 gold. 3 pieces of Gangqi pill. After that, we will give you the remaining 4,002 gold. That the man took out a storage ring and handed the gold to the 3 people on the opposite side. The 3 men were wearing black towels. They were obviously very active black scarf thieves in the Fulong Mountains. Rest assured, use people's money and people to eliminate disasters, not to mention that the kid who killed us before, this time is just revenge. After all, one of the 3 black-scarred thieves put both gold and Gang Chidan into his storage ring, and turned and chased towards Ling Xiao. Entering the Xiaolong of the Fulong mountain range, Xianjian Buhuajia was displayed without reservation. His body seemed to turn into a dragon, hovering and flying in the jungle, and he was able to stay in the air. That is not the realm of light merit, but flying. At present, Ling Xiao's Xiangyun Buhuajiao has been cultivated to the state of the great consummation, and then upwards, or it has entered the realm of transformation, either that is to evolve again. However, it is no longer possible to evolve Xiang Yunbu by simply relying on advanced body techniques. It must be top-level body skills to be able to evolve, so for the time being, we can only develop in the direction of environmental change. When I was at home, I couldn't open it, but in the Fulong Mountains, there were not so many scruples. Hurrying itself is the constant training and improvement of body style. Who? In the forest, Ling Xiao's speed is really not inferior to those of the birds. The only thing that may not be as good is the height. He is currently flying to a height of 20 to 30 meters at most, and even if you fly, you can only stay in the air for a quarter of an hour, and then you have to find a place to burrow. But even so, this feeling of freedom soaring is still very exciting. His current strength is nothing more than Wu Mai's 4-fold. Xiang Yunbu is already so powerful. If the strength is promoted to Wu Mai Jiuzhong, or Xiang Yunbu has evolved further, could it really make the clouds fly, soar freely between the heavens and the sky? For the future, Ling Xiao is full of expectations. Since he had Wuha soul, his self-confidence has also increased day by day. Although I didn't want to give up my efforts before, but when I couldn't see hope, it was really painful. This is not the case today. The future is bright. All you need to do is work hard. In less than half an hour, Ling Xiao arrived at the destination, which is the edge of the Fulong mountain range, a little bit more inside than before. After all, this time the strength has been improved. If you want to hunt the 4th-level peak monster, it is too easy to meet. In the distance, the roaring and roaring of the beast came from time to time in the Fulong mountain range, and the human scalp was numb. In Tianfeng City, no one knows exactly what the Fulong mountains stretch out. I only know that the more you go inside, the higher the level of the monster is, the more terrifying it is. At the core of the Fulong Mountains, there is a dragon. Although Ling Xiao wanted to go in and look at the situation, he still had self-knowledge. Now this strength has entered the depths of the Fulong Mountains. Yu is reading www.uukangshu. Calm is pure death. However, it's no problem to walk a little bit inward on the edge. he was not interested in the beast passing by, his goal is just a monster. Qingfeng Jian has been taken out of the mountains and rivers by him, and he is carrying it behind his back for easy use at any time. Previously in Davi, he didn't take out the Qingfeng sword, mainly because this thing is a fine sword, which is easy to attract eye-catching. Fortunately, even if he defeated Ling Yihang in the end, he did not use the 100-step flying sword technique, so this secret was naturally preserved. There is no need to keep secrets in the Fulong Mountains. This is a mountain, there is no figure. The display of the map in the mountain and river map can also make him aware of whether someone is approaching in time, so that he is not too worried about the secret being leaked. Chapter 63, 1 against 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Disease, a sword light shoots out, pierces the air, and makes a sonic boom. Ling Xiao can obviously feel the explosive terror power contained in the breeze sword. Aoo. Jinguang broke through, the sword shadow flashes, a third-level monster fell to the ground, and only had 2 screams before he died. What a splendid sword! This actually cut off the monster's head directly. Well, the strength is a bit too big. It is estimated that with my current strength, it can easily kill the third-level peak monster with a force of about 30%. That he analyzed the power of the Baibu Shajian in the current situation in the range of 200 meters through the mountain and river Wuhuan. The result came to a horrible conclusion. Within 200 meters, the 100-step sword is equivalent to the full blow of a warrior with 5 peaks. What kind of concept is that he is just now close to the level of Wumai 4-level peak warrior, but this attack can reach the full blow of Wumai 5-level peak warrior, in this way, let alone the driver's peak monster, even if it is a level 5 monster, as long as it is not too strong, it should be able to win. Just be careful, flying sword attack requires suddenness and explosive power. If it is predicted by others in advance, the power is not so great. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao casually threw the monster's body into the mountains and rivers, then move on and look for prey. The third-level monster is still too cheap. This time he is looking for the 4th-level monster, preferably the 4th-level peak monster, so that more gold can be exchanged. Of course, you can also try it when you encounter level 5 monsters. Well, someone came over. After killing more than 10 third-level monsters in a row, Ling Xiao frowned. The mountain and river chart shows that there are actually 3 living bodies approaching quickly. Passing? Or is it for me? Ling Xiao did not want to take risks, so he chose to hide and look at the situation first. 3 life forms finally appeared, 3 black scarf thieves. One of them is the chunky old man, the other is a tall man, there is also a demon woman. What about people? Did you find that we hit it? Quack, he can't escape. That he only listened to an extremely unpleasant whisper in the mouth of the chunky old man, and then a turbid gas spewed out of his mouth. Cough cough. It smells so bad. Ling Xiao was unable to guard for a while, but he was smoked by this gas, and he coughed up. Swoosh. Snapped. Almost at the moment when he coughed, a few poison needles shot past. Fortunately, he responded in time and avoided it with the help of Xiang Yunbu. Ha! It's actually good to escape the poison needle of the slave's house, the demon woman said in surprise. No matter how good you are, you have to die, the strong man sneered. Employers have long said that this kid is very light, so I prepared something special to entertain him. Black scarf thief. Seeing that the other party did not attack again, Ling Xiao calmed down a little bit. Xuanhuan was running, and the information of the other 3 showed. 2 Wumai 4 peaks, 1 Wumai 5-fold. To be honest, he couldn't help being surprised to see the information displayed. Who is this, so generous, actually sent such a master to deal with himself? The strong man is the strongest of the 3, and his body is very murderous. I don't know how many people have been killed. Oh, don't the little one run away? The demon woman asked with a smile. Why run away? Ling Xiao has decided to hunt these 3 people. Although 1-on-3 may be a little difficult, but here is the Fulong mountain range, and he has Xiang Yunbu and the mountain and river Wuhuan, which makes him almost able to handle in the jungle, change the environment. It is estimated that he turned and ran. But now, the 1-3 win rate is not very small. I don't know if you are alive or dead. If you are willing to give up what you have learned, you can be happy, the chunky old man said with a smile. Want my light skills? Hold me and talk. Ling Xiao grinned, then suddenly rose into the air and flew towards the forest. Regarding speed, he did not believe he would lose to these three people. Hey, hey, what makes Ling Xiao strange is that the three did not chase, but stood there sneering. This gave Ling Xiao a strong bad hunch. However, there are no special displays on the pictures of mountains and rivers. In other words, they are three people, and there is no helper. Wrong. Still feel wrong. Buzz. The tremendous pressure made his gang chi run fast in his body. At that moment, the feeling of blood and flesh connected by Wuha soul was more obvious. It turns out so. Ling Xiao suddenly discovered that he no longer had to deliberately observe the mountain and river maps internally. His body was perfectly combined with the mountain and river Wuhuan. He just needs to look at his opponent now, and the analysis data will quickly appear in his mind. The drill is also formed in the mind at the same time. Although it does not seem to be much different, it is actually too much. In the past, to use the analysis and drill capabilities of mountains and rivers, you had to look inside the mountains and rivers, which was a waste of time. It's almost death in battle. Now, there is no need to do that at all. Wherever his eyes can be analyzed, even Wu Shan's soul has changed his vision strangely. Most people's eyes will definitely have dead ends, but his eyes are not. What he sees is in all directions. No matter what angle he can see clearly. Not only that, but now it can be seen through. He knew that this was not the ability of the eyes, but the ability of Shan Wu Wushuan to show through the eyes. But no matter how, under the huge pressure of death, his ability has been improved again, and it is a huge improvement. The reason why the mountain and river maps did not show anything before was because the opponent's killing trick was underground. A huge spider, standing up to 2 meters, lock him down below, ready to break out. He was just wondering what he was going to do with his light skills. And now it looks like it should be a spider web, if the spiders were all covered with snare nets. Around here, he would be really troublesome. Solve the spider first. Ling Xiao moved at the beginning of the year, and suddenly gathered the chi. Yu reading www.yuyukeungshu.com punched the ground with a punch. Underground spiders are nothing more than third-level monsters. This punch is full of his 5 successful powers, and he also uses the meteor star shaping fist. The spider will die. At that moment, the faces of the 3 black scarf thieves who had been insidiously smiling changed greatly. They didn't know how Ling Xiao discovered the danger from underground, but they could feel the horror of Ling Xiao's punch. The chunky old man and the demon girl moved first. The two attacked Ling Xiao from the left and right sides. Don't look at the fat old man, but this guy's body is not weak, and the speed is even faster than the demon woman. The most terrifying thing about the demon woman is the hidden weapon, so while running over, several crossbow arrows were shot continuously. The crossbow arrow gleamed with a faint blue light, clearly poisoned. Chapter 64, Countless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A cruel look appeared in the eyes of the demon woman. She can even foresee the tragic situation after Ling Xiao's poisoning. The 7 tricks all over the body bleed, but they cannot survive, they cannot die. However, she did not know that Ling Xiao at this time entered a very special atmosphere. The feeling that mountains, rivers, and martial spirits are connected to the bloodline makes Ling Xiao's thinking speed up and improve instantly by dozens of times, or even hundreds of times. He can even calculate how long the poison crossbow arrow reaches his body and how much damage the poison crossbow arrow may cause to him. There is also time for the chunky elderly to get in touch with themselves. And the situation of the strongest man in black scarf. At this time, the situation of the strong man with black towel was a little strange. His gangster was outgoing, but he obviously had no intention of shooting. Ling Xiao can be sure that this guy is manipulating the spider. That being the case, it is easy to handle. The chunky old man and the demon woman are not his opponents, and the black-scarred man is manipulating the underground spider to avoid his attack. In this way, what to do is already very obvious. Puff. Puff. For several consecutive times, the demon girl's poison crossbow arrows were all shot on Ling Xiao's body, but none of them failed. The demon girl giggled and her body slowed down significantly. Poor boy, I thought 1 or 2 would be good. Anyway, it is very toxic and still effective. I didn't expect to be in the middle. I said, the boss, this kid is very powerful, but his brain is a bit stupid. Ha ha ha, in the face of your poison crossbow arrows, even if he is smart, he will be confused for a while. The chunky old man also laughed. The brave man who manipulated the spider also relaxed a little. No. Kill him. In the end, the brawny man is relatively advanced, and his knowledge is relatively high. Although there is a trace of relaxation, he suddenly feels wrong, because he found that Ling Xiao didn't look any weakened. The punch still accurately bombarded the underground spider. Late. Ling Xiao sneered at the corner of his mouth, punching the ground with a punch. The meteor fist of transmigration only uses 5 success forces, but the poor monster with only 3 levels is directly bombarded into scum. Even the strong man's body shook involuntarily, and a red stain of blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. Obviously, manipulating spiders should be through the use of spiritual branding and other things to cooperate with the chi, killing the spiders, and also affecting the body of the middle-aged man, although it may be weak. Kill him. The brawny man was angry, and the triple peak warrior of the Wumai actually killed his lovely spider, and it was still under their 3 eyelids, which was simply unbearable. Ling Xiao seemed to be poisoned at this time, his body was weak, and his breath was weakened. The chunky old man saw his fierce eyes. Little thief, come to life. At this moment, they no longer want to catch alive, because Ling Xiao is too cunning, and catching such an opponent alive is tantamount to blocking himself. The chunky old man had no weapons, but his palms showed a purple-black color, and he was obviously a person good at palming. Once this palm hits, Ling Xiao will lose half his life if he does not die. However, when the chunky old man approached Ling Xiao with less than half a meter left, Ling Xiao suddenly smiled. Meteor Star Fist 6th type Meteor Star Instant Strike. Although the power of this 6th form is slightly worse, it wins fast enough, and does not need too much gas. At that moment, his whole breath changed, no longer weak. Instead, it is unprecedentedly powerful. Wumai fourfold. These 4 words have become the last words of the chunky old man. He thought Ling Xiao was just the triple peak martial arts. He thought Ling Xiao had used all his strength in one blow, and could not attack in a short time. He thought Ling Xiao had hit the demon girl's poison crossbow, but in fact, the breath that Ling Xiao erupted at this time is definitely the 4 peaks of Wumai. Ling Xiao only used 5 successful forces to kill the spider, in order to be able to attack again in a short time. More importantly, Ling Xiao did not actually hit the arrow. At that moment, he accurately calculated all the parts that the poison crossbow arrows would hit, and then gathered the chi, condensed all the golden gangles of 9 turns to gold body tips to those few points. In this way, even if he hasn't reached the 5th turn yet, at these few points, he can be invulnerable. What's more, although the demon woman is the peak of the 4-fold martial arts, but the gang chi is too weak, and the attack is not as powerful as the general 4 martial warrior. So it seems that the poison crossbow shot him, but it was just inserted in his clothes. It is a pity that the chunky old man will not understand all this when he dies. Boom. Ling Xiao's punch, as if an ultra-small meteor hit the heart of the chunky old man at a very fast speed, then burst out instantly. Boom. The heart of the chunky old man was directly beaten, almost without any suspense, and even the screaming was too late, and he was killed on the spot. With accurate calculations, Ling Xiao has done more with less. He now understands more and more what chemical martial arts is. Martial arts does not mean that power is better. Different situations, different moves may be easier to use. Sometimes, the speed is faster, but the less powerful moves are better. Sometimes, the range is large and the medium-powered moves are better. Sometimes, the speed is slow, but the power and terror moves are better. All of this requires constant training and comprehension in battle. Because Ling Xiao has mountains, rivers, and martial arts souls, it is obviously much better than others. Even if the combat experience is not as rich, he has already seized some characteristics of the martial arts of the realm. I believe that as long as more hard work is done, future battles will be more comfortable. Fat old. The demon woman was taken aback, and her body rushed to the ground to stop suddenly. She was scared. Because she knows very well, the chunky old man's melee combat strength is much stronger than her, and even the chunky old man is wiped out by this cunning kid, and he was useless in the past. Boss, get out, the demon woman shouted at the strong man. You're back. The strong man originally thought that Ling Xiao was the triple peak strength of Wumai, so he dared to be confident that the chunky old man and the demon girl could kill Ling Xiao. All he had to do was to prevent Ling Xiao from escaping by manipulating the spider. but now, it is clear that the situation has changed. Can you escape? Ling Xiao certainly knew what the strong man meant, but he would not let this woman go, otherwise, this woman will definitely be a trouble to fight against the strong man later. Swoosh! A sword light flew out from behind him, fleeting like an electric light. Puff! In an instant, he pierced from the back heart of the demon woman and pierced from the front heart. Old boss! The demon woman dreamed that she had killed countless innocent people with a hidden weapon www.wuxiaspot.com but died under someone's hidden weapon. Little thief! You dare to kill my wife! The strong man in black towel was angry. He really didn't expect that he would suffer such a big loss today. 3 people came, but now he is the only one left. Will you only be allowed to kill me, but not me? Ling Xiao said lightly. Although he spoke lightly, he was still nervous. The demon woman and the chunky old man are actually easy to deal with. This strong man is the real trouble. Wumai Wuzhong Peak Warrior is not so easy to clean up, but he didn't plan to run away. This kind of life-and-death battle is the best exercise opportunity, not to mention that he is not without the possibility of winning. Chapter 65, Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The winning percentage of both sides is about 4 or 6, Ling Xiao 40%, the other party 60%, of course, this is superficial strength. He really feels that he is more confident in winning. After all, he, who possesses Wu Wushuan, has so many advantages. Little thief, let your teeth be sharp, and you can't escape today. Although your strength is close to the 4 peaks of Wumai, then the flying sword attack has reached the attack power of the 5th peak of Wumai. But it still has to die. The man with the black scarf said so, but he didn't move. Ling Xiao knew what he was afraid of. Be afraid of your own flying sword. The black-scarred strong man knew in his heart that Ling Xiao's greatest threat to him was the unpredictable flying sword. Anyway, I am dying. Can you tell me, who asked you to kill me? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. As soon as the eyes of the black-faced strong man turned, he smiled and said, Want to know? I can tell you. The person who wants to kill you is Ling from your Ling family. His voice suddenly became very quiet. Ling Xiao couldn't hear it at all, so he lifted his foot and took a step. Opportunity. The strong man in black towel grinned. He was telling the truth, but the purpose was not to tell Ling Xiao the truth, but to show Ling Xiao's flaws. Now the opportunity came, and his figure also moved. The seemingly sturdy body just jumped slightly, but it approached Ling Xiao instantly. This is not a physical method, but pure power, so horrible. Dead. Yu Guang, a black-faced strong man, glimpsed the chubby old man and the evil demon woman. His anger was evident in his heart, and he roared loudly, and his hands appeared claw-shaped in the air. Not only that, but the claw turned into a color like steel, and the light of Xuanhuan even shone. At that moment, however, a playful smile appeared on Ling Xiao's face. Not good. A sword light came through. The black-faced man was frightened. He is well aware of the power of this sword, definitely has the attack power of the 5 peaks of Wumai, although he is the peak of Wumai Wuzhong cultivation, but on defense, it is only the initial appearance of Wumai Wuzhong, which is impossible to block, can't dodge in midair, can only block. Fortunately, this kid's flying sword went straight. Although it was fast, it was still able to stop it. After experiencing the initial panic, the black-handed man quickly calmed down. The 2 claws directly grabbed the flying sword. His attack power is also the peak of Wumai's 5-fold, however, he didn't notice that Ling Xiao slipped a contemptuous smile around his mouth. What? The moment that Jianguang and his claws were about to touch suddenly disappeared. The strong man in black towel trembles, and suddenly finds that the other party's attack is gone during the duel. This is absolutely the most terrifying thing. He was almost terrified, but this fear did not last long, because at the next moment, he felt that his head was separated from his body. That feeling was too bizarre. Through his eyes, he could see that his neck was actually spraying blood. Can his sword change direction? This was the last thought of the black-haired man before he died. Call. Seeing the black-scarred strong man killed, Ling Xiao almost sat directly on the ground. This battle seems easy, but in fact it is very dangerous. If the black-scarred strong man didn't think he succeeded, if he jumped up, Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to succeed so easily even if he could change the trajectory of Feijian. This is fighting wisdom and courage, one by one. With the powerful thinking ability brought by Xuanhuan, Ling Xiao almost led the other person's nose, but the result of using this ability is very similar. He could feel that not only the Gang Qi but also the soul power were consumed by Wuha soul. The state of no-brainer lasts a little longer, and you are too tired. Ling Xiao, who was resting on the ground, didn't even bother to pick up the storage ring of the strong man with black towel. The weakness of the soul can be more uncomfortable than the weakness of the body. In this state, it is simply called into the soul. It seems that in the future, you have to learn some secrets to strengthen the soul. Otherwise, the time for into the soul is too short, and the help for the battle is limited. Ling Xiao thought about it and gave himself a name for this state of no-brainer, and it will be easier to use in the future. After taking a rest for about half an hour, Ling Xiao slowed down, and his head was not so dizzy. He walked over and took the storage ring of the braided man with the black scarf, which was also a storage ring for ordinary goods. There are a lot of things in it, including nearly 50,002 silver, 10,002 gold, 3 gangqi pill, and a top martial art. Snow Lotus Secret. Ling Xiao opened the Snow Lotus Secret in surprise, and thought she could practice it, but she was dumbfounded at first sight. Xuelian Qi Ju, the top pinnacle martial art, is an inner skill mentality, and can be used with Xuelian Jian Ju, close to extraordinary products. Only people who wake up Xuelian Wuhuan or the natural Xuelian body can practice Snow Lotus Wuhuan. The people with Wuhuan in this world are nothing more than rare, let alone such a wonderful Snow Lotus Wuhuan. It seems useless. Keep it, maybe it will be useful later. Thinking of this, he shook his head and threw Snow Lotus Qi Ju into the mountains and rivers. At that moment, a surprising situation appeared. A mountain appeared in the original small village, an iceberg. Many snowdrops grow on the mountain. One of them grows at the top, the largest and the most beautiful. Mount Wuha Soul, all-encompassing. The 8 characters are shown on the mountain and river map. Don't say Ling Xiao is not stupid. Even if you are stupid, you can understand what it means. Combined with the iceberg Snow Lotus that appeared before, this simply means that his own mountain and river Wuhuan can contain and breed everything, and Xuelian Wuhuan can also be tolerated. You can learn this Snow Lotus Qi Ju. Ling Xiao felt extremely excited. He has always wanted to get a top-level inner strength mentality, and now it seems that it has to come with no effort. The strong man with black scarf did not know where to get it. Unfortunately, he couldn't learn it, so he could only put it in the storage ring. Let him ruin him and be reluctant. Now it is cheaper. Ling Xiao planned to start practicing Snow Lotus Qi Ju now, but suddenly, he felt a dangerous breath approaching. There are 3 red dots where the eyes go, showing the 3-headed monster, and it is a very dangerous Wuji Peak monster. If it's one head, www.wuxiaspot.com. Ling Xiao still intends to stay and fight, but 3 heads, he doesn't even want it. It is pure death. After all, the monster beast itself is stronger than the warrior. The monster beast with the same strength has a terrible talent. Let's go home, get this Snow Lotus Qi Ju. You can upgrade it first. As for Jiuzhuan Jin Shinju, you can do it later. As long as the realm breaks through the 5 levels of Wumai, he will have confidence in the total get second in the final. That the reason why it is second rather than first is that the key to Ling's extraordinary strength is not very clear to him. Boom! That he just wanted to leave, and the earth suddenly trembled. Earthquake. No, how does it feel like a large monster is approaching? Ling Xiao looked to the distance. A huge figure was walking slowly in the dense forest, almost comparable to a hill. Chapter 66, Hercules. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A terrifying howl made the 3 level 5 peak monsters all lie on the ground, trembling all over, with panic in their eyes. Ling Xiao saw the most horrible scene since he was born. That is a giant ape monkey, 15 to 6 meters high. The sound is like thunder. Tall trees are beside it like weeds. Boom! Boom! That every time you take a step, the earth will tremble a few times, like an earthquake. What the hell? Ling Xiao struggled to change his destiny, trying to stabilize his mind, but the horrible cry still made his blood shake and uncomfortable. At that moment, he found his soul seemed to fly away from his body. Fortunately, the speed of Xuanhuan Soul's operation has reduced this effect. Even so, he still looked pale, as if seriously injured. This situation is almost as uncomfortable as when Into the Soul had just ended. Snapped, as if shooting a fly, a giant ape of the 5th level peak monster was directly photographed in the air with his hand, and then stuffed into his mouth to chew. Ling Xiao covered goosebumps all over. This is too scary. The 5th level pinnacle monster is actually vulnerable to this guy. Slapped to death like a poor fly, and eaten raw like that. Click. Click. Wherever this great ape passed by, all the trees were planted with seedlings, directly crushed by its terrifying brute force, and then crashed to the ground. Ah! Ah! The great ape looked very excited, looking at this side as if staring at its prey. Ling Xiao shivered. Even if he is as firm as he is, facing such a monster, he will not have the courage to resist at all, but anyway, he is much better than the 5th level peak monsters lying on the ground motionless. Hercules ape, the 8th level pinnacle beast, with a strength that surpasses most of the martial arts and the 9th level martial arts, with a brute force can easily destroy a mountain. When his eyes looked at the great ape, such a message automatically appeared in his mind. What a luck! What else can I say? This is actually still on the edge of the Fulong Mountains, and actually encountered such a terrible beast, 8th level peak monster. This is more horrible than most of the early martial arts warriors, and Ling Xiao is no more than the 4th-level peak martial arts of Wumai. It is a bit difficult to deal with the 5th-level peak monster, and in the face of the 8th-level peak monster, it is simply dead. Escape. Ling Xiao did not think much. At this moment, he has only one way, that is to escape. Live if you can. Can't escape and die. Boom! However, as he fled towards the periphery of the Fulong Mountains, a big tree was suddenly thrown over and inserted in front of him. Don't let me go. Ling Xiao is almost desperate. Why is this Hercules ape? Do you want to enjoy food slowly one by one? Since you can't get out, rush into the forest. At this time, Ling Xiao could not care so much. He knew that the depth of the Fulong Mountains was more dangerous, and he might encounter giant monsters as terrible as Hercules, but he has no choice. Staying here is dead. Must escape. Since there is no way to escape, it can only be done the other way around, and there is still a trace of hope for survival. Quack! This time, Hercules did not block Ling Xiao, but instead grinned and gave a weird laugh. That's right, it was laughing. Ling Xiao couldn't care whether the other party laughed or laughed. He had only one thought at this time, that is to escape. After Hercules gave him a glance, he grabbed a 5th-level peak monster on the ground and stuffed it into his mouth, then chewed. As he ate, he watched Ling Xiao running wildly in the jungle with interest. This little bit of humanity is not bad, but I can still run away under the pressure of my momentum. Let's play first, and then get bored and eat again. In the eyes of Hercules ape, such information was clearly revealed. Ling Xiao is also thanks to the awakening of Xuanhuan, otherwise he will be like the 5th-level peak monsters lying on the ground today, and he has no courage to escape. Even when Hercules apes put them in their mouths, they dared not move. The terrifying breath of the 8th-level pinnacle beast exerted a huge sense of oppression on the soul. That kind of horror is not an immersive person. It is really difficult to understand. Gam! The sound of the bone of the 5th-level peak monster being bitten sounded in the forest. The sound was very loud. Ling Xiao believed that the Hercules ape was definitely intentional, because he heard clearly. At this time, there is only one final 5th-level peak monster left by Hercules. Ling Xiao knows that after the guy finishes eating, the next target will be him. He pushed Xuanhuan Hua Jiao to a limit, and at this time there was no intention to hide his strength at all. Hidden strength at this time, that is to find death. However, no matter how he ran, he could always feel firmly locked by the breath of Hercules, whether it was turning or evading, to escape. Ling Xiao even took the Gang Chi Dan that he just got from those black scarf thieves and threw one into his mouth. He is desperate. Gang Chi naturally consumes a lot, and Gang Chi Dan helps break through, and it can also replenish Gang Chi in large quantities. In this case, you can accelerate as much as you can without worrying too much about the lack of gas. If you let the Ling family see his speed at this time, it will definitely be like seeing a monster. Even a warrior with 5 peaks of martial arts can never reach this level unless he specializes in speed and body. However, Ling Xiao did not mean the slightest relaxation. Too slow. It's still too slow. Perhaps in the eyes of others, the speed of terror has completely exceeded the common sense, but in the eyes of the Hercules, it may not be worth mentioning at all. The 4th, 5th and 6th weights belong to the gang stage, the 7th, 8th, and 9th weights are in the stage of gas explosion. The 8th level peak monster beast Hercules' chi is no matter in quality or volume, it is much stronger than Ling Xiao in the 4 peaks of Wumai. This is not a grade at all. Look at the playful expression of Hercules' ape, it dares to let Ling Xiao escape, and he is not afraid of not catching. Gam, that the last level 5 peak monster was also thrown into the mouth by Hercules' ape and eaten. Then this guy belched and started chasing slowly behind Ling Xiao. While passing by a small river, he actually lay in the water and drank a few sips of water. Ling Xiao did not look back at www.wuxiaspot.com, but his horizon is now comprehensive, so even without looking back, he knows what Hercules is doing. He felt like a fragile woman running away at this time, and that Hercules' ape is like a martial arts thief. The joking smile in the guy's eyes was clearly playing with him. Ling Xiao was not angry, although this is very unpleasant. It also provides him with a chance to escape. If the Hercules directly rushed to attack, he had no chance of escaping. People who despise me will regret it. Including your self-righteous beast. Ling Xiao calmed down. He can see that Hercules will not catch up with him in a short time, so don't be too panic. Chapter 67, Hantan Gold Liquid. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Entering the gang gas into the woo-woo soul of mountains and rivers, Ling Xiao suddenly entered the state of entering soul. The vision at this time is more terrifying than before. At a glance, the terrain within a 10-mile radius has been completely seen, that is. There was a look of excitement in Ling Xiao's eyes. In his eyes, an ancient building appeared. According to the analysis of Xuanhuan, if he flees there, he has a survival rate of over 90%. Ling Xiao did not know how this survival rate was calculated, but he probably can think of it. The building looks like a coiled dragon. There should be something weird. Inside the building, there is a basement, but the entrance is very small. It's okay for him to go in this figure, and it is even more difficult for the giant Hercules to enter. Without much thought, Ling Xiao unfolded his speed and moved forward at full speed. He had to hurry up while Hercules' ape had not yet noticed his attempt. Of course, in this process, surrounded by confusing Hercules, he chose a more complicated route, a bit like a headless fly. However, there is actually only one goal. Hercules saw the unlucky look of Ling Xiao, and then made a smug whisper again. Laugh, you won't be able to laugh later. Ling Xiao was really desperate, regardless of the consequences, and ate the second Gang Chi Dan again. Anyway, as long as he can survive, Gang Chi Dan can get it again. Once dead, even if there is no more Chi Dan to help. Hercules' ape chased behind, but it seemed very relaxed, did not accelerate fully, and sometimes even saw flying butterflies, and would chase twice. Obviously, the full-bodied Hercules ape is now left to play. 10 miles. Bali. 6 miles. Ling Xiao is getting closer and closer to that building. Finally, when he was only about a few hundred meters away from the old building, Hercules was anxious. It seemed to know the horror of that building, and knew that the building would block it, so it speeded up in an instant. The distance between Ling Xiao and Hercules was 6 miles before, but in this moment, Ling Xiao rushed over 100 meters, and the other party directly rushed for 5 miles. This speed is really terrifying. Hercules can't fly, but a jump is a few miles away. No wonder it doesn't worry that Ling Xiao will run away, but when she saw the building, she suddenly panicked. Ling Xiao knew that the speed of Hercules was terrifying, but she was still taken aback. But he couldn't care so much at this time. Fight, the last Gang Chi Dan threw into his mouth. He rushed out like crazy. Boom! At the moment he rushed out, Hercules' ape also fell to his original position. The ground cracked innumerable cracks, and then spread out around. But the strange thing is that when these cracks are close to the dragon-shaped building, they can't move on. Ling Xiao, who had completely lost his strength on the ground, found himself in a dragon-shaped building. Although the Hercules was angry and tried to rush in repeatedly, it was finally blocked by an invisible breath. Hercules stared at Ling Xiao for a while, and finally fell asleep directly at the exit of the dragon-shaped building. It seemed to mean, if you have the ability, you guys will never come out, otherwise I will eat you. Ling Xiao had no intention of fighting with the guy at this time. He looked at the dark tunnel in the building. After thinking about it, he stood up and walked in slowly. Although the body is too exhausted because of the excessive consumption, but if you lie down at the entrance of this building to rest, it may be dangerous, so he wanted to find a safer place. Besides, he still has the power to fight now, and he is not completely incapable of self-preservation, as long as he does not come with a terrible 8-level monster, otherwise he simply chooses to commit suicide. The dark tunnel can't hinder Ling Xiao. He, who has Wu Shan Shan, can see things in the darkness. This building is a little weird. After walking for a while, Ling Xiao was surprised to find that the walls of this building were not made of bricks or stones, nor metal. This material looks more like the bones and skins of animals. It's just hardened. More weird than buildings, there are still many bones along the way. Those with bones, beasts, monsters, and humans really don't know how many living creatures died here. It just seems that the age is a bit old. After all, the corpse must be completely transformed into bone, and it is unlikely that it will not be corrupted for a long time. It's so cold. Ling Xiao suddenly shivered. He was surprised to find that, when he didn't know when to start, the tunnel turned into layers of ice. The temperature dropped abruptly, and he had to use Gang Qi to keep out the cold. Fortunately, the third Gangqi pill before was not exhausted, otherwise it would not be frozen to death. About 1 hour passed. Ling Xiao knelt down directly. Why does he kneel? Because he saw a pool. This pool is breathing a bit of cold, and there are a lot of snow lotus in it. There are 100 years, 200 years, even 500 years, thousands of years. Of course, if only this, he would not kneel down. After all, although Xuanhuan is the ultimate medicine for alchemy, he is at most happy. The most important thing is that the water in this cold lake is not water. It's golden liquid. He will not be mistaken. The chilling pool is obviously made of liquid gold. The liquid gold in it is estimated to be millions of gold. Although he is not the kind of very greedy man, don't forget, he must consume gold to practice 9 turns to gold body technique. Now that he meets such a weird cold lake, can he be upset? What did you say? If one survives, there will be future fortunes. It seems that there is really no bluff. Ling Xiao escaped from the mouth of Hercules' ape, broke into the building by mistake, and then found this strange Hantan golden liquid. This is luck. Not to mention that this Hantan Jinya is necessary for the promotion of 9 turns to the golden body technique. It is simply that Hantan golden liquid can be bred inside, golden yellow snow lotus. Yu reading www.yuyukeungshu.com, and there are as many as 10,000 golden snowdrops. In addition, there are a lot of 500-year-old and 800-year-old golden snow lotus, which is enough to illustrate the benefits of Hantan gold liquid. When Ling Xiao looked at Hantan Jinya, Xuanhuan had already started to analyze the composition and benefits of this Hantan Jinya. The conclusion is that this thing is not only harmless to the body, but also an excellent quenched body. According to Xuanhuan, this Hantan gold liquid is actually a quenching body liquid produced by the Golden Dragon family. It is this liquid that makes the Golden Dragon family have the most terrifying power and strength of the dragon family. Is there any doubt? Ling Xiao exclaimed excitedly, and then jumped directly into Hantan golden liquid. The moment he entered the Hantan golden liquid, his originally tired body seemed to be alive again, completely without any fatigue. Chapter 68, Blessed by Misfortune. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gumbling. The moment he entered the Hantan golden liquid, Ling Xiao actually felt that the liquid entered his body directly from his pores, and then flowed through each capillary. The cold breath almost froze his blood vessels. He was shocked in his heart, and the practice image of Xuanhuan Qiju suddenly appeared in his mind. The gang from Xuanhuan Qiju is attributed to ice. I think the coldness should be absorbed. Thinking of this, he did not dare to neglect, and the qi quickly ran in accordance with the operation mode of Xuanhuan Qiju. At the next moment, something that surprised him happened. Those chills actually absorbed Xuanhuan Qiju and absorbed it, and then condensed into gang qi. The lost qi in his body was quickly replenished. Not only that, when the practice of snow lotus qi ju reached the end of the first layer, his practice was actually completely stabilized at the peak of the fourfold of Wumai, although it was close before. After all, there is still a distance, but now it is only a moment, and it has already reached the peak of the fourfold of Wumai. It is not a problem to make a breakthrough to the fivefold of Wumai, but the cold was absorbed, but the golden liquid mixed in the blood made him very uncomfortable. In a hurry, Ling Xiao began to practice 9 turns to golden body technique at the same time. Under normal circumstances, no one will practice 2 martial arts at the same time, because not only will they be distracted, but both of them may not be well promoted. But at this time the situation is special. Ling Xiao cannot care so much as expected. The golden liquid in the body began to be absorbed by the body after the operation of 9 turns to gold body technique began. Wonderful. It's amazing. Chilliness is used to practice Xuanhuan Qi Ju, which greatly improves the Qi. Gold liquid is used to practice 9 turns to gold body tips, greatly improving the body's strength. And his soul didn't feel the slightest burden. It seems that it still has a lot to do with the Hantan golden liquid. Just because it has entered into the soul state, the soul is actually very tired, but after entering the Hantan golden liquid, even the soul felt as if it had been nourished. It can be seen that, in addition to the Qi and body, this Hantan gold liquid can also strengthen the soul to a certain extent. Unfortunately, there is no soul cultivating secret, otherwise it would be better, but people can't be too greedy. This situation should be said to be very good. It is already his great fortune. He no longer thinks much, but closes his eyes and concentrates on practicing Xuanhuan Qi Ju and 9 turns to gold body juice. All are top martial arts, and that feeling is different from advanced martial arts. As time goes by, Hantan golden liquid is rapidly decreasing. If someone is standing next to it, they will find out, only about half an hour, at least an inch, but as a result, Ling Xiao's 2 top martial arts are rapidly improving. Coldness and Jinya are basically 5 or 5 points. So the promotion opportunities for the 2 top martial arts are basically 5 or 5 points. Another half hour passed, and Ling Xiao's face showed surprise. He felt that his realm was faintly showing signs of breakthrough. At this time, Snow Lotus Qi Ju has been cultivated to the 3rd level, and has become a small realm. He can clearly judge that his Gang Qi has reached an extremely horrible level. In terms of quantity alone, even the ordinary martial arts 6-fold martial arts warriors are not comparable to him. It's too horrible for the cold to improve the gang. At the same time, 9 turns to gold body tip simply broke through the barrier and was promoted from the 4th turn to the 5th turn. The 5th turn of the 9 turns to gold body skills is the top level of this top defensive martial arts. The body is extremely tough from the inside out, can be invulnerable. And Xiaocheng Realm's 9 turns to the golden body also made his defensive power to the level of Wumai's 5 peaks, and even stronger. The strength has increased by about 300 pounds, and is currently approaching 1,500 pounds. He had the strongest attack power before, and reached the attack level of Wumai 5 peaks, and his defense was relatively weak, but now, the defense power seems to be stronger than the attack power, as long as the 9 turns to gold body tips is firmly fixed at the 5th turn. It should be very easy to achieve invulnerability. Of course, guessing is guessing after all, and we still have to wait for the actual combat to know the result, but he didn't have the time now, so he came to this place, and finally got this cold pool of gold liquid. He didn't want to leave so quickly. At the very least, it is necessary to upgrade the cultivation base to the 5th level of the Wumai, and to stabilize the 9 turns to the golden body. At the 5th turn before leaving, thinking of this, he no longer hesitated and continued to practice Snow Lotus Qi Ju and 9 turns to gold body juice, cultivated from day to night, and from night to day. Snow Lotus Qi Ju successfully entered the 5th floor. The Gang Qi in his body still continued to improve, but never reached the breakthrough limit. This is enough to show that his capacity to store Gang gas is much larger than others. His current starting capacity has reached the level of Wumai's 6th peak warrior. Of course, it's just a lot, but there is also a lot of benefit in large quantities. In many battles, it is not so easy to easily distinguish the winners and losers. The key to the final decision may be to see who has enough gas. No matter how good the panacea is, it is not as good as the body's own qi. After another hour, Ling Xiao felt that the qi in his body had reached saturation level, and it seemed that he could be promoted. In this state, he can easily promote Wumai Wuzhong without any immortality, but for the sake of safety, he still picked a snow lotus about 500 years old and ate it directly. Snow lotus entered the body, and the cold quickly spread to the whole body, then quickly turned into a breath of life, with such a little bit of anger to protect the heart. Even if the breakthrough fails or gets into the magic, it will not be dead or crazy. Breakthrough is an extremely dangerous thing for any warrior. Without Huxin Dan and Humai Dan, you have to use other things to protect your mind, and snow lotus is one of them. Growing in an extremely cold place, life can still be so brilliant, which shows how tenacious its vitality. The protective effect of this thing is much stronger than Huxin Dan and Humai Dan. Without much thought, after eating Xiaoyan, Ling Xiao directly operated Snow Lotus Chi Ju to prepare for a breakthrough. Another day passed. Night. Many beasts in the Fulong Mountain started to move. A giant Hercules ape sits outside a weird dragon-shaped building, surrounded by the 6th level monster that was just killed by it. www.wuxiaspot.com. This is its dinner. It stared at the building. And the little human hasn't come out yet. It could clearly feel the guy's breath, but couldn't get in. Boom. Suddenly, a terrible loud noise came from the building. Hercules abruptly stood up and yelled angrily. Its wisdom is not lower than that of human beings, so it can understand that the human being inside has actually broken through. Although it is still not its opponent, it understands that there must be something good in this dragon-shaped building. His eyes were scarlet, and he punched him suddenly. However, like many times before, it is useless. Chapter 69, 6 Turns. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No matter how hard the fist is, not only does it have no effect, but it will also cause the Hercules to shock himself. Wow, Hercules was almost mad, and he vowed that after the human came out, he must capture the guy alive, and then asked how to enter the building. It guessed right. Ling Xiao broke through, from the peak of Wumai 4-fold peak to Wumai 5-fold, and because the gang gas has been saturated before, this breakthrough directly reached the level of Wumai 5-fold later. Close to the peak, his chi is not much improved, but it is still the amount of the 6 peaks of Wumai. However, the quality of gang chi has been significantly improved, which makes his attack power also increase to the level of the early warrior of Wumai's 6th layer. The defensive power has also been raised to the level of the martial arts in the early stages of the 6-fold. All of this was naturally told to him by the analysis ability of Wuha Soul. After all, he is a human child with naked eyes, and he is unlikely to see it so seriously. The scene that had just broken through was frightening even to himself, and actually made a loud noise. Fortunately, there was no accident. However, just after the breakthrough, all aspects are not stable enough, so he did not stop and began to consolidate his cultivation. This martial arts 5-layer breakthrough in the later period was hard to come by. He had to stabilize his strength. If he was unstable, once he was injured, it would be greatly reduced. After a long time, the night ushered in the day. Ling Xiao opened his eyes gleaming. If someone looks carefully, it seems that there is a world in Ling Xiao's pupils. His cultivation at this time has been fully stabilized in the late Wuzhong period. When it comes to combat effectiveness, it has not lost to the martial arts soldiers in the early 6-fold, and the endurance is even better. Now if he is allowed to meet the 3 previous people who tried to kill him, he can kill all of them effortlessly. In just over 2 days, his strength has made a terrible improvement. After being promoted to the 5th level of Wumai, Xuanhuan gave him a new ability, Wuhuan Doppelganger. This ability can use gang chi to condense a doppelganger without self-consciousness, which possesses the strength of 30% of the body. Of course, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that this avatar can integrate with the analysis and drill ability of Wuha Soul of mountains and rivers, and it can perfectly imitate the martial arts used by anyone Ling Xiao has seen. In this way, it will be easier to find a sparring partner in the future. This is the most critical role of this avatar. As for the battle, only he has 50% strength, and basically has no effect. As far as the present situation is concerned, it is estimated that the level of the martial arts in the early stages of the martial arts triple can be exerted. Fighting is not very useful, but it can be used as a dead ghost at a critical time, because the breath of this avatar is exactly the same as him, and can be recondensed after being destroyed. There is no need to worry about being destroyed. This can be regarded as a life-saving means. I have stayed here for almost 3 days. The finals are about to start. I have to find a way to go out. Although I really want to keep practicing here, but the finals are not meaningless to him. Besides, he has a mountain and river world, and he can move all the cold liquid and snow lotus here into the mountain and river world, and he can still practice, so there is no delay. But when Ling Xiao walked to the exit, her brow furrowed tightly. Damn Hercules, have been waiting for so long, and they are not willing to be powerful. Do they really have to wait until they die? Although it was very uncomfortable, Ling Xiao was no different, even if his strength is now greatly increased, but it is basically impossible to escape from the hands of Hercules. Helpless, just go back and continue to practice. Perhaps taking this opportunity, you can upgrade Xiao to the 5 peaks of Wumai, and promote 9 turns to gold body tips to the 6th turn. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth, and simply backed away to start practicing again, re-jump into Hantan golden liquid. Ling Xiao still practiced Shuoyan Qi Ju and 9 turning Jin Shin Ju at the same time according to the previous steps. It is more difficult for the former to improve after the 5th floor, the latter is also more difficult to improve after the 5th turn. I also have the loss of the Handan golden liquid, otherwise, I really don't know if the year of the monkey will be improved. The golden liquid enters the body at the same time as the cold, and then it is melted and absorbed by the 2 top martial arts at the same time, and the body of Ling Xiao is constantly remade. In addition, there is a touch of light that enters Ling Xiao's soul and stretches out, constantly strengthening his soul. He can feel that his soul strength is more than twice that of ordinary people. The direct benefit of the powerful soul is the improvement of perception, courage and willpower. Of course, it would be even better if there were soul-like secret practices. Because of that, soul power can be used as a means of attack. An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. With the accelerated operation of Wuha soul of mountains and rivers, Ling Xiao's cultivation speed is also constantly improving, and every cell in his body is cheering. According to legend, in the ancient times, Mighty had studied the human body and concluded that the human body in this world has 100 billion cells. Every second, more than 100 million cells die and regenerate. The end point of cultivation is to convert all cells into energy cells. In that state, as long as one cell survives, the warrior can die, but this kind of research is only a legend, and no one has really confirmed it. At this time, Ling Xiao can obviously feel that some special changes are taking place in the cells in his body. One cell gradually turned golden yellow, and it became immortal. The most terrifying thing is that the change of this cell directly increased Ling Xiao's physical strength by 100 pounds. What is this concept? Boom! The second cell turned golden yellow, and the strength was increased again by 100 pounds, the third. The fourth. When the 5th cell turned golden yellow, it finally stopped, and the more it looked upward, the more energy was needed, and Ling Xiao was not yet able to reach that level, but only 5 cells became golden yellow. Ling Xiao increased the strength of 500 pounds, the power has reached the terror level of 2,000 pounds. Unconsciously, time passed quickly, and 2 days passed in a hurry. And Ling Xiao's Snow Lotus Qi Ju was promoted to the 6th floor, although the cultivation was not able to go further, but it was completely stabilized in the later period of Wumai. Surprisingly, 9 turns to gold body tips actually broke from the 5th turn to the 6th turn. The 5th turn is Xiaocheng, and the 6th turn is a new starting point. The improvement obtained is more terrifying than the previous 5 combined. Defense improvement, and once the cultivation reaches the 6th turn, the strong body is not only invulnerable, but even can be used to perform various martial arts while maintaining this state. Turning defense into offensive is interesting. To put it bluntly, his current 9 turns to gold body skills is both defensive martial arts and attack martial arts. It is a bit similar to King Kong Palm and the like, but it is stronger. The only shortcoming is the lack of change, which is still far from meteor boxing. But in any case, when Ling Xiao reached the 6th turn, facing the warriors of the same level, most people could not break his defense. It is possible to hurt him only if the other party is heroic or possesses special weapons and special martial arts. But even so, the damage will be greatly reduced. Chapter 70, Final Start. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The rapid increase in strength made Ling Xiao very happy, but when he came to the exit of this building again to check the situation, the expression of joy on his face disappeared. The Hercules seems to be hard-hearted to spend with him and will not leave anyway. Ling Xiao hesitated for a while, and finally gave up the plan to break out. The 8th level pinnacle monster is absolutely comparable to the strength of Wumai Zhezhong's master. With him, it is absolutely impossible to break out. there is only one result of hard break, that is death. Alas, can't you just give up in the finals? Ling Xiao is really not reconciled. His strength has risen to the present level, and he is fully confident that he can be the first in the finals. He did not believe that Ling Xiao could be stronger than him. But reality made him have to choose to compromise. Life is still the number one priority. If the life is gone, then nothing else. In desperation, he returned to Hantan again, and continued to practice. Anyway, idleness is also idleness, and we must always consolidate our current strength. In the following time, he still kept practicing Snow Lotus Chi Ju and 9 turns to Gold Body Ju. Although the rate of improvement is much slower now, it is still much faster than ordinary cultivation. To be honest, if it weren't one day before the finals, he really wanted to spend more time here. In this last day, Ling Xiao basically went out to check the situation after 1 hour of cultivation. Although he knew that Hercules was unlikely to make way for him, he still had some expectations in his heart. Such a blink of an eye is that one day has passed, and it is already the day of the finals. But the Hercules is still guarding the exit, and there is no intention of leaving. Faced with this situation, Ling Xiao is extremely helpless. After this day of consolidation and cultivation, although he said that neither of the two top martial arts had achieved breakthroughs, they had a significant improvement. In addition, the gold cells in his body have changed from 5 to 6, this speed is significantly lower than before, but even if one is added, it will increase the strength of 100 pounds, which will definitely help the battle. In addition, as Hantan Golden Liquid continued to refine his body, he found that his bones had turned into golden yellow, although the blood was still red, but it was obviously more active than before. Originally, he was bullied all the year round, and some of his internal injuries were more or less unremoved. This time, with the help of this cold liquid, he was all cleared. With strength, all he needs now is a chance to prove himself. He did not want to continue to wait like this endlessly, so he transferred the remaining Hantan gold liquid to the village of Xuanhuan world, and transplanted all the golden snow lotus into it. At this time, the number of farmers in his village has changed to 5, each doing his job, helping each other, and being able to do things in an orderly manner. After finishing these, he began to look inside the building, hoping to find another exit, and at the same time, Tianfeng City, Ling's ancestral home, the venue for the annual Dabi finals has already been set up, and a large number of disciples have gathered here. Today, the family has given a holiday, and everyone can put down their work and watch the game. After all, such a competition is also very helpful to these disciples. As the time for the finals began to get closer and closer, more than 100 talented disciples who participated in the finals have come to the scene one after another. Ling Yun, ranked 2nd in Tiancating. Ling Shuang ranked 3rd in Tiancating. Ling, ranked 4th in Tiancating. There were also elite hall disciples Ling Yihang and Ling Yixue who broke into the finals this time, but until 1/4 of an hour before the start of the game, 2 people still did not arrive. One is Ling Fan, who ranks 1st in Tiancating. The other is Ling Xiao, a disciple. This situation surprised many people. However, the most talked about is Ling Fan. As for Ling Xiao, only a few people are more concerned. The game is about to start. Why hasn't Ling Xiao yet come? He will not forget the game. Ling Yixue is afraid that everyone is most concerned about Ling Xiao. Although there is not much intersection between the two, some friends really do not need to touch too much. After the knockout, Ling Yixue could be said to have suffered a lot, so he worked harder. Now it is also successfully promoted to the martial arts quadruple. It's just that she knows clearly that the masters in the finals are like clouds. Her requirements are not high, as long as she can stay in Tiancating. The 110 disciples who participated in the competition were seated according to the ranking. The first row was the top 10 of the Genius Hall. These 10 people, in addition to Ling Xiao who did not appear, the rest is actually the worst realm of the 4 peaks of Wumai, and the top 4, actually reached the 5 rebuilding of Wumai. The most horrible thing is Ling Yihang. This guy was more irritated in the knockout than Ling Yixue, but he was not the kind of person who gave up easily. I don't know what kind of crazy training I have received, or what adventure I encountered, but in just 7 days, I was promoted from the early stage of Wumai Quadruple to the peak of Wumai Quadruple. Although the cultivation base is not as good as the top 4 of Tiancating, it is worse than the rest. And his eyes gleamed with strange brilliance, and looked at Ling Yun and other people's eyes, revealing strong self-confidence. The finals are about to start. Why did Ling Fifan, the number 1 in Tiancating, and Ling Xiao, the number 1 in the knockout, haven't come yet? Yes, there is less than a quarter of an hour left. Once you miss the time, you can't compete. It's a pity, I want to see how far the dark horse can go. The disciples at the bottom basically regarded Ling Xiao as their hero, so they paid special attention to Ling Xiao. By this time, Ling Xiao had not yet appeared, which really made them a little anxious. Not only that, even those referees who watched Ling Xiao become the first in the knockout, were anxious that Ling Xiao didn't show up. The child has a good talent. If you can come to the competition, you should be able to make it into the top 10. What happened? That it was the referee of the former knockout that said to himself, in today's finals, he is still the referee, but the chief referee is Ling Xiaotian, the patriarch of the Ling family. Hey, it seems that the 3 black scarf thieves have succeeded, and it's not that I spent so much gold to buy the fierce. Ling Xian, who was sitting on the guest table, had a vicious look in his eyes. Ling Xiao didn't show up. He thought he had succeeded in buying the murder, but the black scarf thief didn't come to ask for follow-up benefits, which made him feel a little uneasy again. Could it be that they all died together? That would be best. www.wuxiaspot.com. You can save a lot of money. Fulou Mountains, the interior of dragon-shaped ancient buildings. Ling Xiao is seizing the last chance to find a way out of here. At this point, the finals should start in less than a quarter of an hour, but he was blocked in the building by the hateful Hercules ape. Nevertheless, he is still reluctant to give up the last chance. Even if it is a 1 in 10,000 chance, he will have to work hard. There is such a firmness in his character. It can also be said that the Yellow River will not die. But he can have today's achievements, inseparable from this spirit that is not immortal in the Yellow River. People can't give up if they encounter a little setback. That's too useless.